Chunkegan arises at a crisp 8:30 in the morning on a bright summer day. He feels this innate sense of energy, and he feels great. He finally got a great night's sleep. After many weeks of never having a good night's sleep, he finally got a great night's sleep. And you know what Chunkegan does with this newfound energy? He wakes up, he gets right out of bed to go and pursue what he wanted to do in his day. And he wanted to go play video games. So he gets out of his bed, so he eats a sugary breakfast, to fuel him up. And then he goes ahead and starts playing Minecraft. And he plays all day. Except when he takes breaks to eat crap food and when he takes breaks to go and fab. Now, does that sound like a very good use of time, just wasting his life away, doing nothing truly productive? Probably not, right? I used to be like this for the longest time. I would get up, I would play some video games, I just start wasting my life. I would always have just horrible mornings, waking up and just getting out of bed, and like the whole morning routine thing was just foreign to me, and it was just like mornings were just kind of like this blah moment in my life, and like later in the day it was better, but I never truly had like a great day because my mornings were never good. I always woke up with this sense of tiredness and lethargicness. I always had this gross, this heaviness in my eyes. And I would always just want to sleep, but I'd have school or I'd have something to do, and so I just wake up, I'd feel this horrible like sagging of my eyes, right? Like my eyes weren't actually like sagging, but it felt like there was like weights like pulling on my eyes. I know that that sounds really weird, but like that's just to describe like the feeling I had like every single morning. My bad mornings were ruining my life, and on my self-improvement journey, I've discovered like ways to help improve my morning so I can actually like do the things I want to in life. Now, before I had the want to do like bad habits, like the playing the video games, eating the bad food, all of that junk, right? Now I have the desire to, improve my life and do the good things. And, you're probably like that, you want to fix your life, but, you just don't have the right systems in place to do that. I know I used to be like that. Like I used to have bad systems. By no means am I perfect either. I'm still working on improving these things in my life so I can increase the productivity that I have, but I've still improved my morning a significant amount from where I started. And so I'm going to share with you the things that I used so you can help improve your morning as well. So the first thing is you need to go to bed earlier. So to be productive, you need to be rested. Okay, and so that means you need to go to sleep. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? You need to sleep to rest, right? Or you just need to rest, right? But sleeping is like the ultimate form of rest. You sleep, everything recovers, all that jazz that happens during sleep. It's a great thing, right? So you need to get more of it. And so the best way to increase the amount of sleep you get is go to bed earlier, right? I know it sounds crazy, right? But you need to go to bed earlier. A lot of people that want to stay up late, I know, like if you're an ambitious young man, right, you're probably wanting to stay up late, working on whatever you're working on, right? But you just need to cut it short because you can get that stuff done in the morning, and you can do it at a higher capacity if you do it just in the morning. So go to bed earlier, right? Stop doing this BS stuff late at night thinking, oh yeah, I'm being super productive. No, just cut that out completely and do the work in the morning whenever your brain isn't as fried from whatever else you do during the day. Replace the work that you do to be like right after you first wake up, because that is when your brain is most fresh. And so you can reserve the time later in the day to go to bed earlier so you can get more rest, so you can hit the morning block, whenever you wake up, right? You can hit that work like hardest. Like I think it's crazy how many people like stay up super late during the day. Like think about the people what do they do? They stay up until like midnight watching TikTok. They stay up until 3 a.m. doing BS stuff, right? Like if you're on self-improvement, your bedtime's like probably better, right? But like there's another level you can go, right? I didn't even know this before, but there's another level you can go. You need to just cut down your bedtime, right? The people in your life, right? If they're not great people, they're gonna be like, oh, well, why do you go to bed so early? Oh, why are you tired so early? Oh my gosh, like the little do they know, like they're poking their brains constantly by watching TikTok all the time. like that's on them, okay? They're ruining their lives. Like we're improving our lives by going to bed earlier. Okay, so don't believe any of the people who are like, oh my gosh, why do you go to bed so early? You can stay up later. Oh, it's the best time of your life. Like don't believe that crap, man. It's okay to go to bed earlier. An important thing to remember whenever you're going to bed early and like planning the amount of sleep you're going to get is like your sleep efficiency, right? Like you don't fall asleep immediately when you get into bed, and you don't exactly get like the same like type of sleep throughout the entire night. Okay, like you go through like different cycles of sleep. So it's important you recognize that and you understand like, okay, my sleep efficiency probably isn't that great, right? Like most people, they have like 80% sleep efficiency, right? So like if you have around that, you need to plan to have extra time in bed so you can actually go to bed, right? Or you need to find ways to increase your sleep efficiency, like, getting rid of light in your room, or, reducing the amount of noise in your house, or, like niche stuff like that to increase your sleep efficiency. But overall, the best way is just to increase your time in bed. So like, just consider that if you want 8 hours of sleep, you're probably going to have to be in bed for longer than 8 hours, like 9 or 10 hours. So just remember that when you're planning your bedtime. And by the way, make sure you have a consistent bedtime and make sure you go to bed at the same time every single night. So to recap that section, go to bed earlier if you want to be more productive. Understand sleep efficiency. So like go to bed and stay in bed for longer if you want to get more sleep. And 3, have a bedtime and be consistent about it, right? Don't cope. So number 2 is wake up earlier. So if you want to have like a good morning, chances are you probably want to wake up earlier, right? So it depends, right? Some people, like, it depends on the type of person you are. Sometimes there are types of people who literally, like, they can't function as well whenever they wake up early. And there's other people who can wake up at freaking like 3 a.m. and be fine, okay? So like I'm not one of those people who can wake up at 3 a.m., right? But I can wake up around like 5 or 6 a.m., and that's when I'm working my best, right? As long as I go to bed at a decent time the night prior. So it's important to understand like what kind of person you are. Basically, like if you clean up your sleep routine and you understand like, okay, I physically just can't wake up at 5 a.m. Like that's fine, right? It just depends on what kind of person you are. But don't use that as cope, right? Fix your routine first and then decide if like what kind of person you are, because there are people who can like stay up until like 2 a.m. and that's when they work best, and then they wake up at like 10 a.m. the next morning. Like there are people like that, but those people who have discovered that they've actually cleaned up their lives, like their sleeping routines, and they've experimented constantly, and they found out that is what works best for them. Okay, so like don't cope and like don't fix anything and be like, oh well, I'm just the type of person that goes to bed at 11 p.m. and wakes up at 10. And like don't cope. Like experiment with it and make sure you're actually like fixing your sleep schedule and fixing your nighttime routine, so you're not like just coping, be like not waking up as early as you can and like just wasting your life. Okay, that's the entire point of that rant that I was just trying to go through. Basically, the entire premise of waking up earlier is so you can get all the stuff that you need to do done first. I kind of said this before in the previous section about going to bed earlier. Like push all the work that you do to right after you wake up, right? Like then in the first couple hours after you wake up. The reason why I say this is because, like, again, your brain is fresh, right? You don't have anything to process from the day that has just happened. You have only what you've just woken up. You have only that to work with. So for example, if you want to work on like a business, I suggest waking up earlier in the morning so you can work on that and not have to worry about any other responsibilities. You don't have to worry about someone distracting you like in the middle of the day, right? it's a lot more calm and peaceful in the morning anyways, and you're able to just get a lot more work done, and you're able to be a lot more focused. So number 3, it's time for the routine. So after doing this morning task, right, after, like, immediately after you wake up and you do this task, I suggest that you go ahead and you start doing a morning routine. So I mean, you can kind of mix this up. I think you're most productive whenever you do the task first. I can say that for myself. Like, whenever I wake up and I just get to straight to work on a task, I feel great. You know, I'm able to focus and stuff. But there is an issue. See, waking up and, like, this inertia of waking up and stuff, I find it a lot better to kind of go through a routine first, just to kind of wake up my day, right? And I don't make it like a super long routine. It's like just a couple things that I need to do before, just so I can kind of get my brain, like, set for the day. And so that includes, like, getting a cold shower in to wake up my body and my nervous system, get everything moving, right? Then I go ahead and I meditate for a while, you know, after I've woken up, right? So I'm not falling asleep while I'm meditating. And then after I meditate, I journal for a little bit. I'm more consistent whenever I have a routine and I have those habits in it. It's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, in the morning, if I have a system to where I do this, this, and this, I'm more likely to do that than rather, okay, well, I'm gonna do this thing, and then maybe I'll do my routine if I have time, right? Like, I find it a lot better to just do the routine first, and then kind of do the work, like, start doing deep work tasks afterwards. But that's just me, right? Like, you can be someone who, like, wakes up and you're just ready to go and ready to work, right? Like, I want to get to that point, but, you know, I have to work in this routine first, for me personally. And then, of course, afterwards, whenever the sun starts to rise, I try and make it a point to go out and look in the sun in the morning, so I can kind of reinforce that internal cycle, so it's easier to wake up early, and, you know, so I can go into the next day and be more productive. And so the next thing is just make sure at the end of your day that you just repeat step number 1. Go to bed earlier, right? Stay consistent with your bedtime schedule. Like, I'm just going to hammer this point at you again. Like, so many people that they go to bed at the wrong time and then they wake up late, and, like, it's just a scuffed system for people, right? And they live shallow lives because of it. So it's super important that you go to bed at the same time, right? And of course, there will be some exceptions, but it's just super important that you go to bed at the same time, right? This is something that I most definitely need to do myself, and it's something that you need to do as well. It's something that everyone needs to do. So just make sure that you're going to bed at the same time, because sleep is just so, like, influential on whether or not you're gonna wake up with like a quality wake up, or you're gonna wake up with this kind of, like, drowsiness, or not at all, right? I mean, like, not wake up with your alarm. So the last thing I want to point out is just notice how I didn't put breakfast in any of those steps, right? The reason why I didn't put breakfast anywhere is because breakfast is just super detrimental to you being productive. So, of course, if you have, like, a long day ahead of you, and, you know, you have X responsibility, and, like, you can't eat any other time of the day, like, that's fine, right? You eat breakfast, okay? Like, don't starve yourself. But I think if you can push off having breakfast for as long as possible, so in that morning block, you can get as much work done as possible, but have that work done being fasted, you will be so much more productive. Like, after you eat food, it just takes a lot of resources away from your brain, and it gives you brain fog and such, and it ruins your capability as a person, right? Like, you're just so much more productive and, like, laser focused whenever you have, like, almost a sense of hunger, but, like, whenever you're fasted, pretty much is like you become so much more laser focused. I can tell you from experience, like, right now I'm not fasted, you know, and I'm not feeling super laser focused, right? But this morning, whenever I didn't have anything to eat until, like, noon, right? Whenever I didn't eat up until that point, I was like super laser focused, right? And so a good way to fast is you can have, like, coffee. Like, caffeine kind of helps you not eat. It kind of suppresses your hunger just a little bit. but also just like drinking water and stuff. Like that's gonna help you kind of just remove like any sort of need for food, right? Like, and whenever you're working on stuff, you're kind of not gonna be like thinking about eating food anyways. I just want to repeat how epic, like how awesome it feels to be laser focused, right? It is just super like a great feeling to have. And so whenever you don't like eat food, you're able to achieve that, right? And I'm not saying like you need to starve yourself forever, right? Like obviously you can eat like later on in the day, but my suggestion is do your work first. Don't eat up until that point, until you're like done with the task, and then eat, right? So then like later in your day you can just like do whatever, like obviously stay productive, right? But like maybe like do the tasks that don't require as much focus. I think we can all just improve our mornings just a little bit, right? I foresee a future where all of us young men, we wake up early and we pursue the goals that we want to in life, whether that's physical, financial, or mental, or spiritual, whatever our goals are. I can foresee a world where us young men, we wake up early, we have like just a beautiful morning routine, an optimal morning routine that we create, and we take advice from various sources, and we create our own kind of perfect morning routine, and we build this great life for ourselves because we have good mornings. The morning is the most important part of the day because it makes or breaks how well your day is going to be. How good your morning is determines how good your life is, in my honest opinion. And from firsthand experience, that statement is utterly true. Whenever my morning is optimized and is great, I feel great and I know that I'm getting stuff done. But whenever my morning isn't that great, I can feel myself kind of slipping behind and I can feel myself losing progress, right? So it's important for both of us that we really optimize our mornings and we make sure that our mornings are as great as possible so we can lead great lives. Thank you for watching. I hope this guide has helped you out. If you have any questions, comment down below or schedule a call with me. Be better and have a W day.